Welcome back. So today's goal is to fill up a new dummy. So I have one dummy here that I purchased earlier this year before the whole COVID quarantine kind of lockdown. I have a dummy over on my right here that I built maybe 15 years ago or so, and I modified him probably 3 times. But I went with a grappling dummy like this canvas one, because the prices came down. It's probably about 40 pounds or so, filled with, well, I'll show you some of the filling we're gonna do right now. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill a new dummy. So what I've been looking for is a dummy that kneels. And I know there's several other dummies out there that kneel, but anyways, this grappling dummy comes, and you can tell it's already set up for a kneeling position. See right here? So it's definitely going to kneel, but I want to know how well it's going to kneel. Now, I showed before that it has an independent foot that you have to fill. It has 2 of those, and it has independent hands you need to fill. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 separate zippers that you need to fill with material. The head and the torso and the legs are 1 cavity. Left and right foot, left and right hand are additional cavities. So we have to fill those separately. The goal here is to have this dude, it does flex the hip. So there was a question that I received from someone on Facebook that I posted saying I was going to do this. They want to know if it flexes the hip. And you can see right here, it's not even filled yet, but it does flex the hip. So if it just bent to the knees, and a tall body, it would just kind of fall backwards. But it's flexed the hip, so you could actually maybe get it into turtle position. That's one of my goals, is to be able to sit up straight and be able to go into turtle position, so you can work some back takes and stuff like that. So this is the dummy. Again, I walked through this before. Maybe I'll post a link or something on here to show you the unboxing of the Fav.Uke. Material that I'm going to use, I'm going to start out just kind of using what I did before. I took a heavy bag and I pulled out all this shredded material, and I filled this dummy up with. So I'm going to use that material to stuff some of the smaller areas in here. I do have some shirts, some different types of textures. So like when I want to fill it out a little bit more, so there aren't gaps or spaces inside, because in Jiu-Jitsu we want to take away the space, right? So same thing when we're filling up this grappling dummy. I want to fill it up with some of this material. It's a little smoother and slicker, that you can just kind of shove it in. Here's some old shirts, some real thin. These are around for a while. So I'm going to fill it up with some of this material here. Maybe for the larger spaces, I'll use more of a heavier material, maybe a jean or something like that, to fill the main cavity. The areas I'm concerned about, let's just go ahead and say that, is I want the shin parts, I want this to be, when it's on the ground, I want it to be kind of weighted. So I'm going to fill the dummy up with just the regular material, the filling material, and see if I can get that weight without adding the modifications. I'm going to see what this dummy does before I add the modifications, whether it needs it or not. So let's get on. It's a long process. The filling is about 2 hours long, or at least that's what I've noticed with the other dummies that I've done. So I guess just get the headphones. All right, so one of the things right off the bat, I'm not saying this is a deal killer or anything right now, but it's something that's popped up that I noticed with the dummy itself. And again, maybe it's not a big concern once I get going on this, but as I'm starting to open this up and get this ready for the filling, I'm noticing this hole size. Now the hole size to fill is probably about not probably, it is. It's about 8 inches. My other dummy was probably about, not probably, it was 13 inches, 13, 14 inches. So I had quite a bit more room to fill the dummy. Not only that, is this dummy, my other dummy has a Velcro. It's hard to see here, but my other dummy had a Velcro piece that flapped over. But again, this is leather, and I know they want to keep it streamlined, but they do have Velcro here. But it would require another probably stitching and a Velcro piece going over. But as you can see, this 8-inch hole, I have to get in and fill this up. My hand all the way down in here. Another concern are these small little holes right here for the feet. It's in such a funky area, and I get that. The area that it's at is you don't want to have the zipper, you know, at the bottom of the foot, so you know it scrapes against you, especially if you don't have a flap covering it. In this case, it's right at the bottom, or the top of the foot here. And I've already shoved one shirt in here, and it's going to take several to fill that out a little bit more. But I just wanted to get an idea, and it wasn't terrible. But again, just something that popped up I want to point out. I'm not saying it's good or bad or whatever. The other part, again, it's all these small little areas. When you have big, you know, big hands, trying to fit your hand in here and shove this down is going to be a bit of a trick. You know, my hand is in there, but you know, it's tight. So if you have real big hands, this is going to be a concern. You're going to want to have someone who's a carny folk, you know, small hands, smells like cabbage. You want to have those people with you to help fill this out. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so where I'm at right now, I fill up this shin part, and it's a combination of some filling. I try to push some of this looser stuff, small, fine, into the corners, and then use larger material like shirts and some pants to cover more ground. And again, this is a little bit of experience because this one I use all filler of this boxing material. So what I'm going to do now is I'm getting to the knee and what I want to do is I want that knee to be filled out a little bit more. And if I put some shirts in here, see how this knee is bent? If I just put shirts in here, it's a little bulky. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to just use some of the filler and some of the joints to fill this out a little bit more, and then go back to the long stretches of more bigger material to cover more ground faster. But so far, I like the leather. The leather doesn't, with the canvas, it expanded. So anytime I put it in there, instead of having a nice, you know, cylindrical kind of shaped leg, it got wider in areas because the material is stretchy. So the canvas stretched, and then you get this kind of like it had some sort of clot or something sticking the leg. You'd have a nice leg going like this, and all of a sudden you push down a little too much, and all of a sudden you go out and shape in like that. Now, synthetic leather, it's really not going anywhere. It can only go so far. So what I like about that is it's going to be consistent when I'm doing a leg. This leg should be similar to this leg. In this case, you know, this leg is a little bit larger, so when I go to put pants on them, sometimes I'm really pulling the pants on over this leg versus that leg, you know. I'm gonna use the filling to shape this knee a little bit more, then go back to the larger material, pants and shirts, and then keep progressing. I'm going to do the hands and feet last, because these are not as important to me right now. Getting the actual dummy to see if it kneels and how it kneels, whether I need to pull the stuffing back out and use some of my modifications. That's the real goal. So it's going along well. All right, so we're moving along a little bit, a little slower. I had to pull out some other extra material from a heavy bag, and this is the material I'm going to start filling in a little bit more, because I don't have a ton of shirts, because I just don't. So I'm going to start filling it up with this material here, right? So here's where I am so far. I worked a little bit through the knees. The knees take a little bit more finesse. So again, like I said, I'm using this finer material to kind of fill up the knees. Now I'm going to just keep progressing through here, because I realize I'm going to have to work on this and kneel on it and kind of move things around a little bit to pack it, and then I'll go back in there and stabilize it a little bit more and get some of these other spaces in here. You have to remember, this knee is bent, so you're trying to straighten it out. It creates more buckles in the material, so you try to put it in its actual true shape that's going to be in, and then you start filling it in, grabbing in here, and you really start working this material. You really start working this filling into these little holes here. Try to take out some of this extra buckling and space in here. But again, get the knee, get the limb in its actual position it's going to be in. If you have like this, it's going to create a buckle here, and then when you do this, it's just space. So again, this is just the first pass. We'll have to go back through here and fill this out a little bit more as time goes on. But we continue. All right, so we're moving along. We've packed the head. A couple of things I noticed with the head is this face. I can't fill in this part of this pouchy face here. It's stitched in, so I guess I'm not sure why it's like that. There's a pocket in there between the head. This black piece is one piece, and then they sewed this face on top of it, and you can't actually access this, as far as I can tell. Right now I'm working on trying to fill this neck area. Fill this neck area in, fill the rest of the body, and then I have the arms to do. So still working on my impression of it. So far, I love that it's firm. I love that you can grab it and kind of push it in. Back to it. All right. Whew. So I got the first packing done on the grappling dummy. Just finished that up. I don't know if you can see, but there are some areas that need to have a little more filling. For the Fav.Uke, I got some cleaning up to do, but again, my initial packing is done. Actually, what it turned out was I didn't mind the 7 different compartments to fill up individually. So I thought that was going to be, I liked the idea of just one big compartment and filling it in there, but what's pretty nice is you could pack it in there, and being individual, you can get a little more work, a little more working with some tools. Now I used a 1/2-inch dowel, and I tried to be careful not to push against the seams. So, you know, maybe what you can do is maybe tape it up and create it so you can push it in there. But what I tried to do is work that stuffing, the filling, into the joints a little bit more to fill these out. And then I used the longer collie stick, and I used that to get some of these longer stretches. It was easier when I did the arms. So when I was able to get this in here and push that down, it helped a lot. Again, a few things about the dummy is I wanted the dummy to kneel, and this dummy is going to kneel. The reason why it's going to kneel is the joints are at that angle. They don't straighten, right? So they don't straighten there. Same with the arms. The arms are always going to be in this position, so they're not going to, you know, you're always going to be where a straight arm bar is going to be a little difficult because the bend in it is not there, but you know, it breaks away. So you can, it's Velcro down and it breaks away that way. So let's straighten this out. So a couple things that this dummy's perfect for. So the arms here aren't going to give it a lot of stability when you're doing maybe turtle guard stuff, or when it's turtle down, you're doing back takes. No, it's just going to kind of do this, but that's still fine because I get a lot of people who post on their head like that. Things where I was concerned about filling it because of the smaller area wasn't a big concern at all. Like I said, I was able to take the material, stuff it in there, and then use a tool to kind of shove that in there and get these firm. Again, I have some stuffing to do to fill it out a little bit more, but again these smaller openings, not a big deal. I was just able to take this and fill that in. And the same with the hands. You know, the hands will be nice. The neck, you know, I just need to stable this a little bit more, but overall it's going to be nice. It's nice and clean. The difference between this and the canvas one is this one's going to be a little bit easier to clean up. You know, if you're sweaty or dirty or picks up stuff on the mat, this will be a lot easier to clean up. Alright, so I finished the dummy, and if you liked any of this kind of stuff, like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing some of the differences, comparisons between this dummy, that dummy. I have another dummy that I'm going to fill for a friend. I have some material left, and so that one's also canvas and it's also kneeling. So if I can fill that one up, then maybe I can compare it with this one. But if you like what you've seen here, please like and subscribe, and stick around.